Steve, we've been talking about Trevor Lawrence as the #1 overall pick literally for years here on Time to Shine. Listen, this guy is unbelievable. This guy has everything. Your opinion, what makes him so special?
Well, first off, he is the prototype. I mean, he is the exact model of what your perfect quarterback looks like. The golden locks even take it a step further. And we don't want to talk about hair, as you know, we always get into that with me. But he's a natural. Everything that Trevor Lawrence does, he makes it look so easy. He's got the size. He's got the mobility. He's got the ability to make all the throws. He's got the arm strength. The one question I have is a little bit with accuracy. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I believe that this guy truly is the full package. He can run the football, hurt you with his legs. He can extend plays. There's really not a weakness in his game. There are some areas I think he needs to work on to be as good as he can be. But I think that in general, there was really not a glaring weakness that jumps out to me in any area whatsoever.
A couple of guys who can appreciate great hair.
Yes.
Zach Wilson expected to go #2 to the Jets. And Wilson, in some circles, has drawn comparisons to Patrick Mahomes. What do you see when you study the tape on Wilson?
Well, I think I came up with a better comparison. He reminds me, when I watch the way he moves, the way he throws the football, he reminds me of Joe Montana.
Wow.
How about that, right?
Wow.
Now, Joe Montana was a guy that was a third-round draft pick back in the late 70s. But Zach Wilson, to me, has a lot of the cool Joe Montana characteristics. The way he just goes about his business makes it look so effortless, so easy. He's very accurate with the football, can make all the throws. I do see the comparison to Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers when he can be falling off balance and throwing the ball across his body, still deliver it with velocity and accuracy. I think he's a really good prospect, and he's going to end up being a great quarterback down the road.
Joe Montana coming from a Notre Dame alum. That's pretty strong stuff. We talked about Mac Jones to start the show, and listen, he, at the end of the day, I believe, is going #3 overall to San Francisco. He knows a thing or two about winning. We saw what transpired in Alabama. What do you like when you study Mac Jones?
There's a lot to like about Mac Jones. He is, when you look at about what he did this past year, 77% completion, over 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. Now, sure, he had a great supporting cast around him, a lot of talent out there, and people kind of minimize what he was able to accomplish because of that. But it's hard to complete 77% of your passes.
Yeah.
It's hard to play that consistently. He does have some limitations with mobility and with his ability to extend plays. And he's going to be he's kind of a statue back there, kind of like the way I was when I played. And what defenses try to do is get quarterbacks like that off their spot, move around a little bit. And I think his accuracy will drop a little bit in those situations. But he's a surgeon out there. He's a very, very precise, very good quarterback, and he'll be a good quarterback in this league.
And you know the Shanahans. I mean, it sounds like Mac Jones playing for Kyle Shanahan would make a lot of sense, right?
It would be a good fit. There's no doubt. And now I think a lot of quarterbacks would fit into Kyle Shanahan's system, including several of these guys coming out in the draft, guys we're talking about. But Mac Jones would be a nice fit for Kyle Shanahan for sure.
How about Justin Fields? I mean, this is a guy who was sensational in college, big-time leader in college. What's your take on Justin Fields as a prospect?
Well, I like Justin Fields. I call him, in my own terminology, I call him an elevator, meaning he's a guy that elevates the level of play of his teammates.
I like that.
His guts, his competitiveness, his toughness. Obviously, he's a tremendous athlete. But what he did in that semifinal game against Clemson, after taking that hit and being injured and gutting that out and playing at the level that he played, he won me over. He's a guy that can really make all the throws, all the plays. I love the way he throws the deep ball. He does have to work on his ability to check the ball down, his accuracy on those third and fourth progression guys, or when things break down, delivering a catchable, accurate football. But he's got all the athletic ability, and obviously has proven himself in some very big football games.
In a lot of ways, Trey Lance is the ultimate unknown. I mean, he's had more pro days in 2021 than football games in 2020. So, but you've studied the film going all the way back to 2019. What do you see for Trey Lance in the NFL?
I love Trey Lance.
Okay.
I really do. And a lot of people I know are questioning him, but I absolutely love what he did in 2019. Think about this, Adam. How many quarterbacks have ever gone through a season with over 25 touchdowns?
Yeah.
He had 28. 0 interceptions. Combine that with the fact that he rushed for over 1,100 yards and 14 touchdowns. This guy, to me, very inexperienced. He's still got a lot of room for growth. But what he showed in 2019, I don't care about the level of competition. I mean, that obviously is a factor down the road, but the cream rises to the crop. I think he's got unlimited potential to be a great quarterback in the NFL. It might take a little time, but he's going to be a great quarterback, I believe.
Love that, Steve. Now, the top 5 in terms of the quarterbacks for this draft that's locked in. In your opinion, who is QB number 6?
I've really gone back and forth on this one. There's a lot of guys you can throw into that spot. Kellen Mond, a lot of people throw out there. Mills from Stanford. But the guy that I keep going back to is Kyle Trask. I love his size. I love what he did for about 80% of this past season. You know, he put up some numbers in some big games, made some great throws. You know, he's not very mobile. He doesn't move nearly as well as some of the other quarterbacks or most of the other quarterbacks in the top 5. But I like, if the right team picks him, I like what he can do in the NFL over time. He's got all the stuff that you measure, the size, the strength, the ability to make the throws up the field. I think he can be a good NFL quarterback.
We are exactly 1 week away from the NFL draft, and the odds makers have officially shifted Mac Jones back as the betting favorite for the number 3 overall pick, as they should. Now, no one knows 100%, but we've been very consistent since the 49ers traded up from 12 to 3 that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch want to draft Mac Jones. And I get it. And I agree with it. Not that I think he's the 3rd best quarterback in the draft, but San Francisco looks at Mac Jones at Alabama and sees a special, ready-made winner who maximizes talent, makes every throw, and is very accurate. He can be a Matt Ryan clone. I asked former Falcons general manager Thomas Dimitroff about the Ryan and Jones comparison. He gets it. He sees it. And did I mention it's Kyle Shanahan? Kyle made Matt Ryan into a league MVP in Atlanta. He can do the same thing with Mac Jones. Matt Ryan's had a great career, absolutely worthy of when Matt Ryan was the 3rd overall pick in the draft. Jones will have the same kind of path in San Francisco under the mastermind that is Kyle Shanahan. Like in Alabama, San Francisco has great offensive talent and superb coaching. It's a Niners team that's ready to rock and roll. All signs point to Mac Jones following Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson when they go off the board, and I get it. Look who's back. Lakers star Anthony Davis makes his anticipated return to the team, and not a moment too soon. AD has been out for 9 weeks, and that's a long period of time to be without the megastar center. Davis told the press yesterday he feels 100%. This after that awful calf strain and the tendinosis. And Frank Vogel said Anthony Davis is going to start tonight against Luka Doncic and Dallas. Now, he's going to be on a minutes limit, about 15 minutes, and that's smart. You can't mess around. Look, it's not about beating the great Luka Doncic. It's about getting AD into shape for the postseason. And at the end of the day, his game can feel good and round into shape eventually on offense while still making an impact on defense and rebounding the basketball. The Lakers went 14-16 since Davis got hurt in the middle of February. They fell from 2nd to 5th in the Western Conference standings. Frankly, I thought they would be worse sans Anthony Davis and eventually LeBron. Heck, getting up to the 4 seed, beating out Denver, certainly a possibility. This doesn't automatically now mean that LA is NBA Finals bound. The Jazz, the Suns, the Clippers command respect in the Western Conference this year. But Frank Vogel and the role players deserve a ton of credit for how they've played. The defense was consistent. But now, with Davis back and LeBron next in a couple of weeks, the rest of the league will be on notice.